It's happened to the cave where the echoes bounce, in the depths where the whispers of knowledge count. A place not just of dark, but of light where ideas clash and take flight. K4 on the beat, in the labyrinth deep, navigating mysteries that the cave keeps. Every step a new discovery, every turn a story untold inside the cave where the shadows unfold. Inside the cave where the shadows unfold.
Finding secrets that the universe keeps, from the echoes of the past to the whispers of the new. Inside the cave, we find the truth. Walls lined with the beats of history's heart anew. Inside the cave, we find the truth. We find the truth.
All right, guys, this is the first entry into our Inside the Cave segment. Today is a Flashback Friday episode. What's up, Chef? How you doing, man?
I'm doing super good. I'm excited to get into some nostalgia tonight.
Yeah, I mean, the last time we talked, we were on your podcast on Sunday Night Secret Society. You had us on. Thank you for having us on there. And if you didn't tune in or you haven't watched this episode yet, we kind of ended the episode on talking about like gaming, and I kind of ran down Chef how to run an emulator on his Android phone. I mean, he's an iPhone guy, so you know I know the fanboys are going to get upset. The fanboys will get upset. People who fight about phones. So, yeah. So how did that go? I mean, was it Pokemon Red that you were running, or what were you running on there?
So I ended up going with Sapphire. So I didn't go completely back to the early 90s. Red and blue for me were my first. I think red, blue, and yellow, if I remember correctly, were my first like introduction to Pokemon on the Game Boy. But I decided to go with Pokemon Sapphire. And this is a interesting one for me. I was actually talking to a coworker today about this because I don't recognize any of the Pokemon. I recognize a few of them, and I'm not even sure how far Pokemon Sapphire is. I did notice it was in color, so I remember playing again red, blue, and yellow, and there was no color whatsoever. But it's going good, man. I started off with, I forgot the name of my Pokemon, but I started off with the fire Pokemon.
Charmander? So you chose Charmander.
No, so I chose Charmander like back in the day, but the Pokemon Sapphire, I believe it's Sapphire that I'm on. It's like a bird.
Okay.
But it's the fire type symbol.
Is it Moltres? No, you can't start off with Moltres. I never played Sapphire because I think that was like a Game Boy Advance game, right?
Yeah, I believe you're right. I think it started with a C, and it's just like a little bird. It looks like a little Tweety bird, essentially. Like pretty much looks like a Tweety bird. And yeah, it was just so crazy. A lot of the sounds were kind of similar to the OGs. When I say OGs, I'm talking red, blue, and yellow. You got your Pokemart. You got your Poke Center. You got your Pokedex. Can't forget about that Pokedex. And I think I'm like 6 hours in now, and I believe I have 3 different badges. So I'm slowly learning. I may or may not have had to do like a walkthrough in the sense that I didn't know where to go next.
Was it this Pokemon right here? Torchic?
That's it right there.
Okay.
Yep. And I am now evolved into the second version of this Pokemon.
That's cool.
And like I was telling my coworker, man, his birthday was yesterday, right? So he turned 23. And the reason why I'm telling you that is because just to give you a reference and time gap, I'm 33. Okay. So I'm explaining to him my struggles as I'm leveling up, I learned, or as I'm evolving my Pokemon and leveling up, I just learned that you can stop your Pokemon from evolving.
Mm.
And
You can?
I'm like, yeah, you can like rapidly press, I believe, A while your Pokemon's evolving, and it will cancel the evolution.
But who would want to do
cancel
that?
it.
I mean, unless
That
you're fucking
was my
Ash with
problem.
Pikachu. Remember, like he didn't want to evolve Pikachu.
Yep. But what's the purpose? Like, I'm assuming that there's a reason why they have that option in the game, but I don't understand why. Like, is there like some secret thing you can do later? I don't know. Still don't know. And then I was expressing my frustrations, and I was like, dude, so I keep learning new moves, but I can only hold at this point 4 moves. But I don't know which moves to keep and which moves to delete. And he and this guy that just turned 23 laughs at me, and he goes, "That is so cute. You are having like beginner Pokemon issues." And I'm like, dude, I haven't played Pokemon, dude, in I can't even tell you how long.
Yeah, he's
I'm
still a kid
33.
compared to us.
Yeah. So I'm like, dude, it's been like well over 20 years, I believe. It has to be well over 20 years. Like
definitely.
when
At least.
so I'm at least right. So I'm
that's the fucked up part. That's at least 20 years. It's not like at most. It's at least. It could be more because you're 33. I'm 34. It could be more. It could be fucking 25 years. Holy shit! You know,
right?
This kid that's a kid who fucking finished high school, went to college, and got a degree already. 25 years, if you're lucky.
And he's
but for those of us who aren't like your friend that you spoke about, you said 23.
Yeah,
so
as of yesterday,
he probably never started what we played, which was this. It was Pokemon Red, and this was the OG right here for us. I remember getting lost and just going through so many fucking batteries on this Game Boy just to play this game. Remember that shit?
No, dude, I completely forgot. You can't just plug it into the wall and you're good to go. No, it took batteries, son, and batteries costed money.
Yeah, and back then, you would open up the back, it'd be 4 fucking batteries, and you'd get, if you were playing this game continuously, you probably get like an hour tops until you need new batteries. But I remember, so I mean, this wasn't the first game I ever played on the Game Boy. It was Tetris, because my mom was like she loved Tetris, and she actually had the fat Game Boy, and she would just play Tetris on it. And then I remember when I got Pokemon Red, I was just so excited. I was like, dude, I don't really know what I'm getting into, but as a kid, you didn't know how big this shit was gonna get. Like, Pokemon to this day is huge, and it's crazy. Like, I don't know the new Pokemon. I really don't. The original 150, I remember them all, but it's just crazy how big this thing has gotten. And just listening to this 8-bit music just throws it back for you, you know? Like, God, life was so much simpler.
It was, but it's still like if you picture the time. Like, I think some kids like to read. I wasn't a big reader. I still am not a big reader. Now I only read stuff I'm like extremely interested in.
Yeah, I'm not even a reader myself. If someone's got too long of a caption on their Instagram, I'm like, eh.
Yeah, bye-bye. But this is something that you could like follow along with, and you were like, especially right now, like you get to choose between. You have the choice. The choice is yours. As Ash Ketchum.
Here's the choices. This guy chose Squirtle. I mean, who were you picking right here?
I'm fire all day, dude. I'm Charizard or Charmander all day long.
Yeah, same. I mean, I really like all 3 of them, but Charmander was, especially on the red version, you were chasing Charizard, you know, and Charizard was on the cover of this red version, so that's who. Oh man, fucking Gary hated this guy.
Gary. I think they brought back Gary to Sapphire, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong, but I want to say Gary sounds like he popped back up again, like in the very beginning.
Yeah, I mean, so many times. I mean, I remember just collecting so much Pokemon. And remember you get a bike and you ride through Pallet Town on your bicycle, and then you gotta teach your Pokemon to cut so you can just go through a tree. Those good fucking times. Just the simplicity of it. This kind of game, like nowadays, I think if kids were to play this game, they're like, this is so boring, because games are so immersive now. And back then, this is what we'd be.
This was it.
In. Yeah.
This was it, dude. I mean, you're living in a story.
Yeah.
You feel like you're making your own decisions. It reminds me of like the old school Goosebumps books.
Ooh.
Where you can choose your ending. You can choose your ending, so you feel like you're in control.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like your opinion matters. And as a kid, right? You're a kid. Like the way that I was raised, like I was raised my parents were great, but at the same time, like you're nobody. Like when we're walking through a store,
mm-hmm.
you do not put your hands in your pocket. The only things that you're able to touch is something that you're able to buy. Caveat: you don't have no money, little boy, so you don't touch a damn thing in the store. Right?
Right.
So to be able to have a decision, whether you're playing Pokemon or reading R.L. Stein's Goosebumps series,
mm-hmm.
that's the only time you really got an opinion. So this stuff right here is just, it's great, man. It's great.
Speaking of which, this intro is hard. Remember coming home from school? And this would play, and like as a kid you were creeped out by this. You're like, oh man, this is about to get really creepy. And then I was watching it recently with my kids, and they're just like, this isn't scary. I was like, oh, you guys don't know, like this used to be like coming home after school. You would go through like the whole animation block. You had like all those classics, and like Power Rangers. You had Bobby's World come on. Remember Bobby's World?
I do remember Bobby's World. Didn't he have like the hair?
Yeah, Bobby Generic, and then, like it was by Howie Mandel, and then this would be towards the end of it where it was Goosebumps were catered to like the older kids, but I'd still watch it. But look at that, what a throwback!
What? And then if you stayed up really late, or actually, I don't remember if it was that late. Well, then there was like, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Oh yeah.
Right, and it had like the campfire. Cool. Everyone's sitting around. And then if you got really, really crazy and your parents sacked out and you were going to stay up a little like extra late, we're talking like 9-10 o'clock, you might have ran into Tales from the Crypt.
I was actually going to bring that up. My dad actually put me on it because when he used to watch the Twilight Zone and shit like that. And so whenever Tales from the Crypt would come, I remember I'd be so just spooked from the crypt guy. I forgot his name. I forgot what they call him, but that dude was so scary to me. And then, but growing up, you're just like, dude, that guy was tight. Like I remember. Have you heard of the Frankincense? Have you ever been?
I've heard of frankincense as in like the incense, or no, not the incense, like the essential oil.
Oh, That's no. It. I'm talking Frank and Sons, like Frank.
Oh, Frank and Sons. That sounds so familiar. That wasn't a cartoon though, right?
No. So this is like a huge like warehouse full of just like different vendors who sell shit from like your childhood and like a bunch of collectibles. Like you can find like even current shit, but like all the toys we grew up on, like I bet you can find it there. So, I remember going in there and they had the actual like life size of the puppet of the crypt guy. And I was like, dude, that looks so fucking awesome. Like as a kid, I'd be like, I don't want that shit in my house. But now as an adult, it's like, that'd be kind of cool to have and, keep the kids in check real quick.
Just right in the corner. Yeah. You don't want to listen to mom and dad. That's cool. No, fine. Cool. No, it's all good. Hey, do what you want. If you want to be on your own fucking problem or your own fucking program, go for it.
Oh man.
But that guy right over there, he's watching. It's all right. Do your thing. I'm out of it.
I mean, so people can understand. This is what we're talking about right here. This was our childhood. And people like I always tell people the 90s era is so hard to top because, like, yeah, everything's cool right now. We got all the technology, but the technology also kind of has us disconnected from shit. You know, everyone. Our attention span is so much shorter now because of
Oh, this was like a 30-minute intro, if I remember correctly. Just you're so immersed, and you're like,
this is 30 minutes.
Shit.
Oh, it's a minute 38.
No, I'm just saying. Like, I remember it felt like a lot longer because it was so terrifying
As a kid, yeah, and like
as a kid. Yeah.
oh, dude, I could never imagine going down a house like that. Fuck that! You'll never catch me going in there.
Nope. And you remember when they had a lot of episodes. I mean, every scary movie, we were like, no, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Don't go into the woods. Don't go down in the creepy ass basement. No.
Yeah. 90s scary movies were scary then, and you watch it now, you're like, this is cool. Like slasher films, you know? Like slasher films were huge. And Scream was like running it for a while because that was like the new era. But before that, we had fucking... There you go. Yeah.
Dude, imagine having one of those by your front door during Halloween and it's automatically triggered by somebody walking up to your door and that guy just pops up. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Dude.
We kind of jumped from video games. I want to talk about video games, but we're on TV shows, so I don't care. Speaking of creepiness, I was talking to you earlier about how if people don't remember, there was a movie called Three Men and a Baby, and there was this thing about how there was a ghost child in the back. I'm actually gonna play that clip for us right now, so you guys can see it. Oops, gotta step up this whole producing game. There we go.
Slaying it.
Now, this isn't a scary movie by far. It's a comedy. It's about three guys who take care of a baby, hence three men and a baby. Yeah, so if you kind of pay attention, it's going to pan to a scene or like, just look behind the curtains.
Look at the way she's looking at me. For a moment there, I had her laughing.
Yeah, just like me.
Boom.
Imagine seeing that back then and no explanation. Look, there's a fucking kid right there in the back. Behind the curtain. I like the music.
Dude, that is wild. And that is fucking wild. And for another episode, I would be interested in looking into where they filmed this movie and look at the history of the land or the building.
Uh-huh. But see, what they were saying is this was all done in one take. And as you see, as that camera was entering here, it didn't show the kid at that same window. It only showed the kid after they pulled away back. Yeah.
And so what's the story on the kid? Is there some sort of connection?
So apparently the kid in the background was just the director's kid who would kind of like go in purposely and go into scenes and kind of just like fuck around. See, and there it is. I wasn't there earlier.
Yeah.
Still creepy nonetheless.
Yeah, for sure. Still a little creepy. And like, is that like a backdrop? Like,
and you still see him just standing still, you know, maybe getting into character if you want to call it that.
But still creepy nonetheless. He's not like I want to be on this film. Like, hey, look at me. Like, I'm gonna do what do we call it now? A photo bomb or like a video bomb. Like, I'm gonna video bomb this show. Like, he's just standing there, just staring. Yeah, that was definitely creepy. I'm gonna have to go back and go give that movie a look at.
Go watch it. I mean, it's not a creepy movie, but see if you can watch it and then be like, hey, you go tell your wife later if you're gonna watch it. Just hey, there's a ghost kid in there. Don't explain it to her later, like it's director's kid. I mean, the director is like, that's my kid. I don't know. I don't remember if the director actually said it himself, but I remember reading that they discussed like, oh no, it was just the director's kid. So,
Might have been a cop out. Who knows? Might have been a cop out.
I know, right? Everything's a fucking cop out nowadays. But imagine being that guy in the editing room and it's like, holy shit, is that a fucking kid? I'd be fucking creeped out.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
A little bit on the spooky side, man. That really is just the posture and just the blank. It's really hard to tell due to the quality, but I mean it's decent quality, but to tell, like, it almost looks like there's like that blank stare, like something you'd see in like a horror film. Yeah, it's fucking creepy, dude. Yeah. Creep me out.
Kids are just creepy in general.
They are.
You hear kids laughter at like 3 a.m. I'm like, fuck that. I am not going out there. Hell
nope. No. Nope. They don't call them semen demons for nothing proper.
I've never heard of that before, but that's
or the crotch goblins.
Crotch goblins, huh? I think semen demons. Crotch goblins probably what fucking Epstein and him like to call. It's like, oh, little crotch goblin on my nuts. Like, fucking weirdo. Yeah, I mean, just movies in general in the 90s. I always felt like still has like this. Because I was watching, Disney Plus with my kids, and we actually just put on Tarzan, and I was like, dude, for a second, hold on. Phil Collins had no business making such a fire ass soundtrack for that fucking movie. How, like, what the, it's about a guy, who grows up with apes, and his parents were murdered by a fucking leopard, and he just started cooking up this crazy ass soundtrack, and I was really watching a couple days ago, and I was like, wow, this song's fucking hard.
Dude, okay. Little creepy, dude, that you say that, because literally like 2 or 3 days ago, we put on Tarzan for my youngest daughter. And I looked over at my fiance. I was like, do you know who sings this song? And she paused and waited, and she goes, Phil Collins. I'm like, this is one of the greatest soundtracks. Like, in my opinion, this and The Lion King.
Yeah.
Tarzan and Lion King were.
Hercules had a banger too with Michael Bolton.
Okay, yeah, so we got Michael Bolton, we got Elton John, and we got Phil Collins.
Yes.
But weirdly enough, tonight I was doing another thing off to the side, and there was a character, a real human character, and I'm like, dude, this fucking person looks like, and I couldn't figure out the name. The only thing I could remember was that the name of the person I was thinking of played the small monkey in Tarzan. When Tarzan was a baby, there was another little monkey. The little monkey was Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah, Rosie O'Donnell, yeah.
This all happened tonight. And then obviously watching it a couple days ago. So the fact that we're talking about Tarzan right now and Phil Collins, I just got done quizzing my fiance on Phil Collins. A little bit creeped out, dude. Not gonna lie. Maybe it's just meant to be.
No, it definitely is.
That's fucking weird, dude. That's so fucking weird.
That's funny that you said. But yeah, no. So like I said, I was watching it with the kids, and the kids were like, like, this is cool, and but I was telling them, I was like, Disney doesn't make movies like this anymore. It's not animated. It's all fucking, let's do a recreation as a live action film. And I'm not necessarily feeling it, but Disney did come out and say, hey, we're going to make more animated films again. I was like, that'd be cool, because that's kind of, I think they know what they're doing, because they're aiming at like you and me, like the kids who grew up.
Not the kids.
This is for us, because a lot of people have been very vocal about these live action as people are our age. It's not the kids. The kids are just like, ooh, we'll watch it. And they got what's it called? They're doing that new Moana. There's a sequel to Moana now. But then they're also doing a live action with The Rock playing Matt. I'm just like, come on, man. Like, give us something new, you know? I can't.
You said it perfectly.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time we had an animated movie from Disney, but like I said, those are the movies we remember a lot because they were so timeless. Even to this day, you play it and it's just like it doesn't age, you know. And like I said, I was watching Tarzan the other day and I was like, wow, this is cool. Like, you know, it's just listen to Phil Collins drop banger after, like, that whole thing was just Phil Collins. Like, every song is like, wow, this motherfucker cooked this.
Dude, I loved that entire soundtrack, but I also loved the live action with Brendan Fraser.
George of the Jungle.
Dude, George of the Jungle. Okay, and maybe but to me they're very similar. George of the Jungle, it's a dude out there exploring and surviving the wilderness. That was a banging ass soundtrack too. Like, I will never ever forget most of the songs on that particular soundtrack. And when I say that, I can't name one. I just remember one. It was like when the wolf howls at the moon was one of the songs. I think it was a song when him and I don't know if her name was Jane or whatever, but yeah, they ended up tangling up. Right
here. But did you know that actually for the Tarzan movie, Brendan Fraser was actually supposed to play Tarzan, but ultimately it went to Tony Goldwyn. And then Brendan Fraser went on to make this movie. He made George of the Jungle.
Wait, my mind is fucking blown right now.
Why?
Because I thought Brendan Fraser Okay, we're good now.
Yeah, so he made this movie when he was actually, I think he was trying to be the Tarzan for the animated series, but then he ended up doing this movie.
Oh, he ended up landing that. Okay.
Yeah, and so Tony Goldwyn ended up voicing Tarzan. Dude. What a throwback.
What is happening?
We are
and dude, Bill Murray, dude.
Bill Murray.
Oh my God. Do you remember, real quick, do you remember the Disney cups that I'm pretty sure they gave out for McDonald's toys? There were little Disney cups. They had Pocahontas, Hercules.
Yeah, and they're like, I remember, and then they even gave plates, remember? You would get plates. Like
yes. Oh, I had the, yep.
Oh, I'm going to pull that up right now.
Dude, I forgot about the plates, though. I totally forgot about the plates. That was my childhood, dude. The plates with fucking chicken nuggets, the L'Oreal. I forgot the name of the brand, but
I found it on eBay, bro.
Oh, how much?
Here, I'm gonna pull it up for you right now. We're gonna share this tab. Here it is.
Can you imagine going to a restaurant?
$100 for all of this. This is the Hercules set.
I feel like that's a steal, dude. I don't know, but can you, dude? I have an idea.
Huh?
So, if somehow in the future, bro, we roll out a Crave pop-up.
Ooh, okay.
And your food is served and it's all nostalgia, right? Mm-hmm. So it's going to be like gourmet, right? But like French fries, tater tots,
gourmet,
whatever we all grew up on, right? I had my mom was pretty basic, so I didn't have like nothing fancy. I didn't get like, and not fancy, but I didn't have, it was pretty much just the basic American shit. Hamburgers, Hamburger Helper, Sloppy Joes, but fuck the cuisine. But you get served your food on these plates. And then you have the cups.
That'd be cool, but then people are just going to steal these plates, man.
They would. You're right. But you're right. I didn't think I'm thinking short term, bro. You're thinking long term. That's smart. Long term, yeah, we're not going to have any. There's not going to be any
because
utensils.
There's going to be people that get it and they're like, "Oh, remember this?" And then fucking, jack us, and we're not going to have any plates. Now we're like, "Oh, everyone gets fucking paper plates." No, they can get those. Remember that 90's fucking pattern that was on every fucking like cup, takeout cup, that purple,
oh yes,
teal and purple like art. abstract
Yep.
art, I guess you can call it.
That was like Del Taco, Taco Bell. It had like the swirls that went around the cup, and it was oh yeah.
Oh,
Even in like old Taco Bells, dude, that was the entire theme of Taco Bells. It had the purple, the green, a little streak of blue.
yeah. Remember when those Taco Bells, like they used to look like, like a very, like it was like from like the building looked like it was from like Mexico or something like that. You know what I mean? Remember those buildings? And that's how you're able to identify it was a Taco Bell. And it's funny because in Buena Park, there's this place we drive by, and it's the old original Taco Bell building. And every time I drive, it's like that used to be a fucking Taco Bell because just that was their style. And now it's like some Korean food spot. It's just like that was Taco Bell.
Dude, and that would be another thing to get into because McDonald's, In-N-Out, Taco Bell, and Del Taco all started here in Southern California.
Yes, it did.
The first Burger King is in San Bernardino. I want to say the first Taco Bell is somewhere close to that. But that is so wild, dude. Yes, I do remember that. Even if it was like an old Taco Bell building, the way that they shaped it, it kind of looked like I don't know, the way that the roof was, you just knew that was what it was. But then even after, if they moved locations and another company came in, like if they turned it into like a liquor store, you knew that was at one point. It looks like a little La Hacienda, dude. It looks like a hacienda, like a
exactly. That was a word. Yeah, but see, I mean, it was so distinct. Like this is Taco Bell, and as we get older, obviously these places aren't going to be Taco Bell forever, and we see it, and it kind of takes us back. It's like, damn, I remember that used to be fucking. And it just sucks. That's kind of like the part of getting older that kind of sucks, but it's also kind of cool at the same time because you're kind of seeing how things change, and it's just cool to have these memories because I don't know. These are, as a child getting Taco Bell, I'd be so fucking excited. I was like, yeah, we're going to Taco Bell, bro.
It was a treat. It wasn't like I feel like for most of us, like it was a treat. Mm-hmm. It was like a Friday night thing. Like you have your friends spending the night, or you were spending the night at your friend's house, and mom and dad were thinking about getting a little frisky, knowing the kids were all going to be playing and occupying themselves. So like, dude, I'll fucking take 20 tacos, because also, if you remember, like as kids, like we would run around and play outside. You got to go play outside until the street lights came on. So we play guns, dude. That was our shit, guns. And we'd have sticks and just play guns and play war, build jumps, all that fun shit. But when that light turns on, you better get your ass home unless you're already close to home.
Exactly.
But like mom didn't want to cook, dude, or maybe she did, but sometimes she didn't want to cook. So it was like, dude, we're going to order. I remember, dude, my mom would order like, I don't know, 5 or 10 double cheeseburgers from McDonald's or get the taco pack from Taco Bell. Right. Oh man, dude, so nostalgic, man. Good times. And
the crazy part, it doesn't feel that long ago. I just feel like our childhood it just happened, and all of a sudden we're older. You and I, we both have our kids too, and our own families. It's just like, oh man. But I think what's cool though, and it's weird because why do we still look really young? The previous generation is like, oh, this guy is 26. It's like, dude, that guy looks like a fucking 35.
I would say not getting sucked into the drug epidemic, like I think, yeah, I really do. I hate to, I know that kind of like dampers the nostalgia, but I think a lot of people during that time, people just get fucked up, dude, and they just get all sucked up and they look like ass and bad decisions and maybe one too many, double cheeseburgers. I don't know, but I feel like the past, for us, like the age that we're at, I feel like the past keeps us younger. It's like if there was a fountain of youth, our fountain of youth right now is the past.
Oh, I agree.
Right. And reminiscing on the past and remembering, dude, I didn't even think about this, but dude, fun things like yo-yos, dude. brain. The brain.
Omega
There was
with
like
the brain.
the Omega with the brain had little coils on the inside, made it look super cool. Some you'd sling down and they'd spin and light. I mean, they'd all spin obviously, but they'd light up, and then you can do the sleeper, dude. It would creep right back up, man. Like thinking about that stuff, man, it keeps me young. Like, and it motivates me to like buy some of these older things for my kids. Like maybe my kid wants a new, I don't know, like LOL doll or some shit. Like, okay, like that's cool. But instead of that, this time you're going to get an old school yo-yo, and I'm going to teach you how to fucking do all the tricks and shit.
The Omega brain. You know, it's funny that you brought that up because when I was a kid, they had a whole, what's it called? I'm trying to find the original fucking commercial for us right now. Oh, here it is.
And they had the butterfly. The butterfly was the one that like kind of sunk in. It almost looked like a toroidal. Like if you were to fling it down, it almost, I don't know, remind me of like a toroidal field.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, and I remember like there was a presentation of yo-yos at my school, my elementary school, and they were doing like, oh, here's the Omega yo-yos, and he was like demonstrating how, and I got picked.
A fireball.
Yes, and I got picked to go up, and everyone got to mess with a yo-yo. He's like, hey, do this trick, and obviously I don't know what the fuck I was doing, so he's like, hey, do a forward pass. I didn't know how to do it at the fucking time, and I just remember throwing it, and all the kids were laughing. I was like, man, fuck these kids. But the cool part was the guy who's like, oh, you could keep it. We could keep all the yo-yos, and I went home with my red Omega with the brain, and I remember just learning because I remember kids were making fun of me, so I was like, fuck that, I want to learn how to
fuck those kids.
And then I remember rocking the cradle and shit. I was like, coming to school, like, what's up, motherfucker? Yeah, I'm rocking the cradle. Oh, you want to see me walk the dog? Here, I'll put it to sleep first. And you remember that?
You ever had a spaghetti and meatball, bitch?
And
dude,
yo-yos were coming up pretty fucking crazy around that time. I just remember you go to Toys R Us and you'd see kids in the Omega section just trying to find like all the cool ones, and you'd be left out. Like if you were too late, you were left with like the whack colors that you didn't fucking want. Oh man, the Omega with the brain, and the brain just had like bearings inside, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and
it had bearings.
And that's what made it kind of like all high tech. It's like, and then like you said, the fireball. I remember having the fireball. Like I had a white glow in the dark fireball.
Dude,
just collecting.
You buy the extra strings. Extra strings, and they had like the little thing of like oil or lube or whatever you want to call it, where you squirt a couple dabs in there, and you only had, it was like a certain amount. Like you need to do like 2 dabs here and 2 dabs here. Like wrench it around a little bit, roll it up, unroll it, roll it up, and then you fling it like 4 or 5 times, and then you're fucking set, and you're gonna be sleeping that shit all night long.
Oh my
dude,
I'm about to throw it back for us right here. This was the fireball I had. This white glow in the dark.
Pretty sure that was like the coolest. If I remember correctly, that was like the fucking shit.
Yes,
it was that exact. It was the glow in the dark fireball. That was the shit. Look at, you even got the patent number on that motherfucker, dude. Like that was the toy to have.
Yeah, all the cool kids had Omega, and then you had some kids pulling up to school and they had their Duncan yo-yos, and you're like, Duncan? What the fuck is a Duncan?
Dude.
You remember that?
Duncans? Yes. And Duncans, like, if I remember, they were like a little bit, they were bigger, they were smoother, but they just didn't get, whenever you slam it down, it popped right back up. And you're like, no, bitch, go night-night. Yeah, and it wouldn't go night-night.
It didn't hit like a Omega, and oh, here we go. Pull up some Duncans for us right here. Here was like an iconic one. Like I remember seeing this fucking everywhere. Let's go ahead and share it. This is right. Remember this one? This is the most iconic Duncan. At least
if you look at the string, if you look at how thick the string is, like, and if you just picture looking at the Duncan, like if you were to pick it up and twist it and look at it like down the line, like it would always get the line was so thick,
Mm-hmm.
it would get stuck. So when you went to go fling it down, it would just like either hit your knee, hit your fucking balls. Maybe you got frustrated, flung it back up, and fucking black eye. Oh yeah, I remember that one very clearly.
And then I remember like you go to a dollar store and they had like all these knockoffs, like, you know, cheap yo-yos, and they did the job. But I remember when you would replace the string, and if you didn't do it right and you fucking flung it, and there goes your yo-yo.
Bye, Felicia.
Exactly. What, you know, but that's just the thing. Toys back then were so much cooler, because I go to a toy aisle with my kids every now and then at Target. They're like, oh, I want to check out the toys. I'm like, fine, you can get one toy, you know, it can't be more than this. But I look in there, I'm just like, man, I swear there were more toys when we were kids. Like the aisles were just loaded, and you know, there's like two toy aisles like for babies, and then you got the girls and you got boys, and then you just got like a mixture. It's just like, I was like, dude, toys are so fucking boring now, man. What happened?
Toys are okay. Toys R Us. I used to call it Toys R to Us, but Toys R Us, bro. The tech decks, dude. The tech decks. I remember that was something that was kind of affordable.
But even then, people were still stealing them, and then that's why they changed the packaging to that hard plastic. But there's probably someone going to be watching. It's like, well, of course you're not going to find toys interesting right now because you're an adult. I was like, no, I know. I put that in consideration. I'm just saying that, like, the creativity in these toys are just so, you know. Back then, you would get like just the toys would be super creative and different variations, like, you know, sock and boppers. Like, you know, I'm gonna blow these things up and you punch your brother in the face with it. You remember sock and boppers?
No. Oh, I remember, dude. I think sock and boppers are a rite of passage. If you have siblings, dude, I'm not even kidding you. I have a 2-year-old and an almost 9-year-old. When the playing field levels out, I don't want to hear it. No snitching, no telling. Here are the sock and boppers, and they're gonna look at them like, "What are we supposed to do with those?" I'm like, "You're supposed to blow them up first. I'm not blowing them up for you. There's a reason why we are in this situation. You're gonna take the time to blow them up, and then you guys are gonna go out there. Man. Maybe we'll get some headgear, and you guys duke it out. And when you're done, dinner will be served.
Yeah,
you have about 15 minutes to figure your shit out."
You remember how bad your cheeks would fucking hurt just trying to blow the motherfuckers?
If you didn't bite on that little sucker just right, but you had
pause.
Yeah, there's a way to bite on those bad boys, dude. And it's either you got to bite when it's up and down, the little slits up and down. You got to bite down, it opens up the hole, you blow. If you do it sideways, you're wasting your time, and it's going to take you all damn day.
Chef's got the technique down, because I was that kid just gonna go, and my cheeks were hurting.
Yeah, I can't necessarily. Yeah, it took me a while to get the technique down. I will say that for sure. But like even Stretch Armstrong. You remember Stretch Armstrong?
Yes, of course.
Creepy crawlers. Creepy crawlers.
Okay, we're gonna have to pull that one up for everyone right now, because creepy crawlers.
Dude, I was always so jealous, dude.
This is a flashback for real right now. I love it,
dude. These are all coming to me now, man. They are coming to us now. Like, this is just talking about it. I'm like, oh, this and that. They even had edible creepy crawlers.
Yes.
It's like, who doesn't want to make their own gummy worm, or like scorpion or spider, tarantula? Like, oh, it was so cool. I remember while you pull that up, I remember like I never had that growing up at my mom's house, but when I would go visit my dad, my brother would always have all these. My stepbrother would always have all these, but he would never open the boxes. And I'm like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? This is like the coolest. It's like and I'm pretty sure it's the same idea as like the Easy Bake Oven.
Oh,
look at that.
You know what Hitler's favorite toy growing up was? An Easy Bake. Hey, we're getting canceled after our first episode, guys. Thank you for tuning in.
Dude, that is one of the greatest, funniest jokes I've ever heard in my life.
Dude, Dude, creepy crawlers. I totally forgot. I remember like seeing like you could make your, like they were showing a bit, you can make your own insects, and then like you said, edibles. I was like, holy shit! Now, like I said, you don't see that now, man, and that's what I'm talking about. That's why toys back then I felt like pushed our creativity. Like we could be creative with it. You know, it's like, oh, and now the kids like, here you have fucking Legos built, and I love Legos. Don't get me wrong, I love them, but you know. Like I said, I was walking down the toy aisle and I was like, my son was like, I don't know what to get. I was like, I don't fucking blame you. All these toys are very fucking generic. Here's a Batman figure and it's just like a regular figurine. It's like, well, this doesn't do anything cool. It's just this, you know. Back then, when you bought a Batman figure, it came with all these cool accessories and like you had a gun and you could
the shurikens.
Yeah, and now it's just like, this is Batman, and that's it. I was like, this is whack, man.
Dude, it's really hard. It's really hard when you grew up with like the old like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I forgot which one it was, but one of them had like a pizza box on his back, and you'd put a little pizza in. And I forgot exactly what you would do, but it would shoot the pizza like a disc out in front of it. And all the color changing shit. Now, going back, like a lot of the shit I think that we grew up with had like lead in it. And this is something I've been wanting to like talk about. And this will obviously be for a future episode. But like going back and talking about banned toys, all the toys that were banned. This is it right here. This is it.
There it is.
Raphael.
How fucking cool is this? Oh. Remember when they had the Power Ranger toys too, and like you could flip the head and it would change to the mask and then back to the regular face?
Yep. Dude,
but it was so weird because like their bodies were so huge just to accommodate the flipping feature.
Dude, I had recently the white glove. It's like a white glove with like a gold diamond, and it was whoever the white Power Ranger was. It was like the glove that you held. And then, I got one for you real quick. Look at this. Okay, I remember those. Yeah, bruh.
Look at these commercials, man.
Ice cream, and jelly pizza, dude. But do you remember? I think manhood started for me at like 5 years old when I got my very first Spider-Man shaving kit.
You got a Spider-Man shaving kit?
Yes, dude. They had Spider-Man and like Ninja Turtle shaving kits, and it was
5 years old. I didn't even get my first shaving thing till like I was high school.
No. So I didn't grow hair on my face till I was like 27, right? So I'm 33 now. So like, but it was a fake razor. It didn't have an actual razor on it.
Okay.
But it came with shaving cream. So you put the shaving cream on. So like while dad's shaving in the mirror, and all it does is just wipe it off. It doesn't. There's no blade. It's just plastic.
Okay.
I will never forget that. And then they had the Spider-Man. It was silly string, bro. It was silly string that like
that's just what in my head right now. Yeah. And it'll get all over the fucking place. And you would have like this fat like glove and like this fat tank of silly string on your wrist. And oh man, yeah.
Shout out to our parents, right? Because you know how big of a mess that was to clean up.
Yeah, definitely. I remember like, shout out to my parents for being cool about me using it. And then I remember when I pissed them off, I did it in the house. Like, hey, I told you to do it in the backyard. Oops.
Oh my goodness, dude.
What a time. Like our childhood, I truly believe was truly special. Now, I wanted to ask you, what do you think? Because there's a huge thing going on. I was like, if you're a 90s kid, that means you were born in the 80s and grew up in the 90s. Do you
So for me, I guess technically for me, at least, I was like a 2000s kid because I was born in 1990. So I wasn't born technically in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't even let you finish your question, dude. I just interrupted.
I was going to say, like, what do you, What do you think of that? Like, do you feel like you're a 90s kid? Because, dude, to be honest, I don't give a fuck what they say. I feel like I'm a 90s kid because I remember a good portion of that of my life. Like, when the 2000s came, there was an internet, computer. Yeah, I was more like a teenager. But when you say kid, I grew up as a kid in the 90s just enjoying, like, and I were both born 1990. So we were born at the start of that era and just going through it. So I identify as a 90s kid.
Hey, no, me too, man. Me too. Again, from the toys to the video games to the music, dude. The music for me, what my mom listened to, was everything. My mom was the music person, and I grew up until I was like 16 with my mom, and then I moved up north and went to my dad's house. Excuse me, but the music alone, like I'll never forget, like Alanis Morissette, Scorpions, Poison, Bryan Adams, Alanis Morissette, Gwen Stefani, like Spin Doctors, Hootie and the Blowfish.
Oh,
like
Hootie and the Blowfish.
I mean, it was just great. And now I look back and it's weird because I remember like playing music when I was like in my teens and I would hear like older like siblings and like parents and whatnot be like, that music is garbage. Yeah. And now that I look back, like I'm not saying the music I listened to when I was in the 2000s was garbage, but I do think when I hear stuff, like I'm more judgmental now. Like when I hear mumble rap, like my mom used to have little cassette tape of Coolio, Gangster's Paradise, that she used to play in her car. Was not a big rap. She was not a big rap person. She wasn't like a gangster mom, but she had that cassette and we would bump that shit. And now when I hear like mumble rap and what have you, I'm just like, oh my God, dude, I can't, I literally can't stand. I like literally cannot stand it like at all. But
sometimes when I'm when I got a good buzz in or I'm high, I can appreciate the music. I don't get, when you just don't care. Sometimes they get you in a vibe.
Yeah.
But will you catch me listening to it a lot? No, not really, because like you said, it just gets annoying after a while. But it's definitely for when you're in that vibe, that music now. But see, I pulled this up because remember back then, for kids who don't know, when you go to when you wanted to buy a CD, but you wanted to sample it, there was listening stations in like Tower Records, FYE,
FYE,
Sam
baby.
Goody, or was it like Sam Goody, something like that?
Yep. Amoeba Records.
Yeah. Oh, Amoeba's still there. They're still kicking in LA.
Oh, they're still rocking? Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so you would have to fucking listen to a CD like this if you wanted to buy it. And this is where I would have fun. Like if we were going to Tower Records, I'd just go here and just listen to random fucking music. I remember going in and listening to it and just laughing my ass off because there was a Weird Al Yankovic CD that was sampling, and I was just sitting there listening to everything. Like I think it was like a greatest like hits compilation. Like he had Eat It, like his Beat It parody of some. So yeah,
he did a Gangster's Paradise as well on top of that.
He did. Yeah, Amish Paradise.
Yep, and then I think he did. I could be wrong, but I remember on YouTube, instead of I Want It That Way by the Backstreet Boys, it was I Want a Fat Babe, and it had like a whole fucking video of it. But yeah, you had to show up here. But how cool is that? Because you could go to the mall and maybe have $20 in your pocket, and you were still going to get some food, maybe hot dog on a stick, maybe cheese on a stick. And you could still spend most of your, like, even if you're there for like 2 or 3 hours. And FYE, was it FYE?
FYE, yeah.
And I'll never forget, dude, when I was up in Northern California, my stepmom and my dad were a lot more relaxed. And I'll never forget this, dude. I got the South Park bigger, longer, and uncut.
Oh.
And we got to listen to that in our van. It was called Marvan. It was an 8-seater van. There was only 2 kids, me and my stepbrother, but we had an 8-seater van, and we'd be rolling. And then I remember listening to Korn, Slipknot, and then I'll never forget, dude, Limp Bizkit and Cottonmouth Kings. I could bump that and sing that shit. Yeah, KMK. And then if I say fuck 2 more times, that's 46 fucks in this fucked up rhyme. Hey. Let's go. Yeah, dude. Fred Durst. So dope.
Yeah, Limp Bizkit was dope. I didn't listen to Cottonmouth Kings, Slipknot, or Korn really. I mean, I know their music, but I definitely fucked with Limp Bizkit for a while, and I thought like that was one of the best bands growing up. I was like, "Fuck yeah, I love this band." Was it? And then they released that whole chocolate starfish and hot dog flavored water CD.
Chocolate starfish and a hot dog flavored water.
So many good tracks on there. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And then they had that one remix of Rollin' with like Method Man and shit on it. Remember that? It was like the bonus track. Wow.
Yeah, so the bonus tracks, and that's enough, dude. Bonus tracks, bro. You had like,
and sometimes they never even list it. You would just be sitting there listening to your CD, and then the song came on. You're like, oh shit, we got an extra song in here.
Yep. So Blink 182, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. They did the same thing. So they would have they had one CD with the pants, one with the jacket, one with the plane taking off, and each one of those at the very end, I think there were like 11 to 12 songs. If you went to the 12th song and let it run out on your Walkman, the 13th song would pop on. Dude,
yeah.
I forgot about all the bonus songs, and they were secret. They were like little Easter eggs, bro. There we go. Take off pants and jacket.
How old were you when you learned what take off your pants and jacket meant?
Dude, I think it was very shortly after listening to Blink 182 due to the fact of the nature of like what they would talk about.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't super bad, but there were some songs like that alluded to some there's a better word, but I'm going to say like sexual, like
innuendos,
deviance. Yeah. Innuendos, deviances, like Sum 41, same thing.
Yeah. No. And so the funny thing is I didn't realize what it meant probably like just until like last year. Take off your pants and jacket. So I was like, because the kid was like, okay, take off your pants and jacket, whatever. And then last year I was like, oh, they're talking about masturbate.
Dude, or hear me out here. We have what's his name? Tom DeLonge, right? From Blink 182, who has came out. And he's all about the UFOs, right? He's all about like UFOs exist. He has a song about it. What if the take off your pants and jacket was like alluding to after 9/11 when they enacted the what was it? Was it the Patriot Act? Or now we have NSA or not NSA, TSA, where you have to pretty much take off your fucking pants and jacket just to fly.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get into that, but that's I think wild. Because of who they are, I think they're just really just talking about jacking off.
I do too.
And their album Dude Ranch is about just jizz.
Yeah. Dude and then there's the other one with the girl that's like the hot nurse that's in the skirt that's like stretching up that silicone or whatever, the fucking latex glove. Like, hey,
yeah, enema of the state or
enema of the state. Yes, dude.
Man, that was like towards like when the 90s was starting to close out, and things were kind of progressing and we're getting ready for the millennium and the whole millennium scare of like once it hits midnight on year 2000, everything's just going to fucking black out. Remember that whole scare?
Oh, dude, I'll never forget that. Y2K, never forget that. I know exactly where I was. I remember everything about that one day, and I remember it being dark. I remember sitting like in the backseat of my van, which is the 8-seater van. There's only 4 of us in the van, and I remember my parents, my dad, my stepmom had the radio on 101.7 The Fox, which was a Northern California station. I remember them talking about Y2K.
Complacency or even apathy.
There it is.
About both the reality and the potential effects of Y2K.
So we're almost at that hour mark, so we're going to close it off from the 90s. I mean, we kind of jumped all over the place from the 90s, but here's the 2000s. And before we got to the 2000s, for people who don't know, like these kids, that there was a huge scare that year 2000 was coming.
That for convenience, all these computer programs, when it came to do dates, you only needed 2 numbers. Why use 4 numbers when you only need 2? And then they recognized, what date is the computer going to think it is when we get to 2000?
One simple date change.
What a problem that was, huh?
One major screw up for computer.
At the stroke of midnight, January 1st, 2000, elevators may stop. Heat may vanish. Credit cards and ATMs may cease to function. Airplanes and
Sound
planes
familiar?
may come to a halt.
People were terrified the world
Nev
was going to
Campbell.
end.
This is not one of the summer movies where
Oh.
She was in Scream, right?
scary parts.
Yeah. Oh, I'm getting head right here in this podium right now.
The prospect of a digital meltdown is too huge to contemplate.
I was worried because the whole
Arsenio. Man, this is a throwback
my-
itself.
We didn't know what we didn't.
Brian Williams. He got fired.
Thought what we didn't know
He did?
was going to hurt us.
I'm pretty sure.
I've got a revolver right now, but I wanted something more.
That was a Dragon's Breath shell. It can shoot a 4,000-degree flame 300 feet. It's also the most popular ammunition among Y2K customers at KGS Guns and Ammo.
Oh my god.
There was a
The
fear.
Doomsday Preppers.
Everything's in the internet. Everything's in computers.
That's me right there. That's me.
This is coming back.
With pre-millennium tensions growing, the president appoints a crisis management expert to prevent a
He didn't get fired.
meltdown.
Oh.
8 to 10% of the population were fairly confident that this was going to be an apocalypse. The president called me one night and said, "Here's an office."
He's a reptilian, bro.
Don't let the
You
world
could tell.
No
with
doubt in
his
my
eyes.
mind. Yeah, he's fucking creepy looking motherfucker, dude.
So that was the Y2K scare, and we are at that hour mark. So I think that was a good way to kind of just end the episode and kind of pick up next time, through the nostalgia. I know we kind of ran through it. So I think in future episodes, you kind of see us going back and forth between eras. We're not going to just go through 90s and 2000s. We're going to go, maybe we'll throw it back to the 80s. Cause I mean, for me, I didn't grow up in the 80s, but there was a lot of 80s influence in my life growing up because my parents and I have siblings who grew up in the 80s. So I actually do like some 80s music. So and just the things that happened back then, I'm very interested in, like, just life before we were even there. It's always interesting to me. So, so before I let you guys go, I just want to say thank you guys for tuning in to Inside the Cave with Chef and I. We'll be doing different things, but today was a Flashback Friday episode. We're going to be definitely doing other things going forward. But hopefully you guys can tune in some more with us. Like I said, we're going to dive into some more flashback stuff on a Friday if we can. And Jerizi said to cover the Stone Age. Yeah, if you guys want to cover the Stone Age, we can cover the Stone Age. I'm going to have to do my research on that.
You and me both, brother. You and me both.
My knowledge kind of just goes at best to the 80s and some 70s. But yeah, like I said, this is just one of many different variations from the cave, the Inside the Cave. Jerizi does his stuff where he does fight breakdowns. Chef and I got together tonight to do Flashback Friday, just going through nostalgic things and kind of just letting it rip and whatever came to mind. And Chef, you fucking unlocked a memory for me with creepy crawlers. I totally forgot about that. So that was definitely a good one that we brought up. I felt like there was a lot more we could touch, but we don't want to bore you guys with a 2-hour episode, so we're gonna keep it short and sweet so we can get you guys next time. But before I go, Chef, is there anything you want to tell our audience? You want to plug anything? Go for it.
Yeah, man. I had a blast, and I'm super stoked. I think for me, the 80s are a little bit of a blur, obviously, because, I wasn't born at that time, but I'd be so down to dip into every little era we got going on, right? Because I can always learn something, and I think it'd be fun for us to do a little bit of digging. Maybe it won't take as much digging for like the 80s, but maybe like the 70s, the 60s, going back, even going back and visiting the 2000s, the Y2K, and getting into that. I think we got a little teaser with the Y2K scare, but no, man, that's about it, man. I had a blast. This was awesome, and Inside the Cave, man, it's fucking popping up in here. So
stay tuned
tuned
inside this fucking cave. But so for anyone watching, if you're not already signed up on our Patreon, please sign up to our exclusive Patreon to get access to our Discord where you can interact with us and give us ideas on what you want to see on these episodes, what you want us to cover, and potentially become a guest on our show. So you can find that link on our website at K4V3.com. The Patreon link will be on there. And yeah, so please consider joining our Patreon. It helps us out. It helps us to continue putting out content for you guys. This is what we love to do, and we'll continue doing so as long as you guys can keep supporting us. And another shout out goes out to our sponsor at safelightcandle.com. They provide a bunch of assortment LED lightings for your house, workspace, or anywhere you need some lighting, accent lighting, whatever it is. Please give safelightcandle.com a visit, and I'm sure you're bound to find something you can use for your lighting needs. Yeah, but that's it for tonight. Hope to see you guys next week on another Flashback Friday, Throwback Thursday, whatever it is, Way Back Wednesday. You know, we'll make it work. We'll do more throwback episodes. What's up?
Time Machine Tuesday.
Time Machine Tuesday. Millennium Mondays, where we just talk about the millennium. Yeah. Possibilities are endless, but please stick around with us and enjoy the ride. We have a lot more content cooking up for you guys. But yeah, if you haven't already, also please follow us at The Cave on Instagram. It's right here, The Cave. You can follow us there and connect with us. So with that being said, I am your host Proper with my host over here, Chef. We are signing off for the night. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. Peace.
Hasta la pasta, folks.
Oh man, good episode.